Greetings everyone, my name is Etterville, and I welcome you all to my Let's Play of Mariovania, a 2D Mario fan game in the Metroidvania style, developed by Ulquiorra of Mario Fangames Galaxy. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Now, this is quite a unique Mario fan game because I don't remember seeing any Mario fan games in the Metroidvania style. I have seen one or two in the Sonic fan games that followed that, and at least 2 or 3 of them in the Mega Man franchise, and of course several in the Metroid franchise itself, so this is quite a unique title. Now, I did say back in my last update vlog that I wouldn't do Mario fan games because I feel like they have too much over-representation or enough people do them. But this is an exception to that, mainly because it's so unique. Sure, it has a general Mario style of stomping on enemies, but adds a whole bunch of new features and a new twist by crossing it over with Castlevania. What I mean by that is that it has a huge explorable world with a world map, an experienced leveling system, equipment system, magic skills, items, an encyclopedia, relics or ability upgrades, over 100 enemies, a pretty nice soundtrack and many secrets it seems. It's been in development for over 3 years, and from the looks of screenshots and other things, it looks quite exciting. And as a brief forewarning, this will be mostly a blind playthrough of this game, as I feel like the blind Let's Plays, at least for Metroidvania titles, as I'll never get that good to be an expert, I feel they give insight into the wonder and show how well the game introduces players to new areas and level mechanics and game mechanics themselves. So I'm quite excited to play this. I say this will be mostly a blind run, as I did do an experiment and play through the first area completely just to make sure the test recording would work out. And it did work out. So we have 5 save slots, a kind of creepy Mario tile in the background. So let's begin. As I said, this will be mostly blind, so after I finish the first area, my apologies if I make some very stupid mistakes. It's all natural because this is my first time playing the title. As I can't really type in my full name, I'll just use the 5 letters. There we go, Etter. There we go. And so we start, as usual, in Mario's house. We can hold the jump key to speed up messages or press spin to skip. And unlike before, Peach isn't in danger. Yet, probably. Here's the classic Mario's house from Paper Mario.
Mamma mia!
And yes, we do have some voice acting clips. Not that many, though. Apparently Bowser's castle is right next door to Mario's home. Well, that's a change. Now we don't need to go through 8 worlds and rescue Princess Peach there. And Toad mentions that it's too big for, well, to be Bowser's castle. And Toad says she's safe in another castle. Well, that's usually what happens, and then she'll probably get kidnapped half the way through. And as usual, as we enter, the door behind us closes. An ominous black pipe. Okay, we have Mario here. As you may have noticed, the visual style of this game is a little bit different. We have the Mario tree aesthetics in terms of how Mario looks, but he's taller than before. Alright, we can jump by using the jump button, which I mapped to the Z key. I'll be using the keyboard. If you hold down the X key, you can run faster. Later on, you can use magic with that. And later on, C, by default, will be used to spin jump. Enter to open up the menu, see equipment, item use, and other things. We don't have any items, so we can't use them. Relics, aka our abilities, guides. We have no guides available. We have the enemy database. Thankfully, we can use the page down button to see all 111 enemies. And another nice feature I don't really see in many fan games, you can have the ability to suspend the game at any point, well, almost any point, assuming that the room isn't a special room like a boss one, or a save room, etc. And so once you suspend, you can continue the game off from there. It reminds me a lot of GBA or PSP titles where you can suspend the game and continue on directly from that point. I really wish more fan games implemented a feature like this, as it's really convenient, especially for longer play sessions or harsh areas. So we have HP, MP, and Star. HP being your health, MP being used for magic, which we don't have access to yet, and Stars being basically the hearts in Castlevania. This game, as a forewarning, from what I've seen, this game borrows a lot of elements and is heavily inspired by Castlevania Symphony of the Night, as well as several GBA titles. So that's where we have MP and Stars, aka our hearts. So we have Strength, which probably is attack, Constitution, Health, Intelligence, MP, Mind, Magic Attack, Luck, probably drop rate, and Reg or Regen for regeneration, Stomp or Stomp Attack, Defend our physical defense, Experience, Next Experience or Time, Coins, and Status. We start out with the Mario suit, the Mario cap, Mario pants, and Mario shoes. We do not have a magic item or weapon equipped, or even any accessories. Fair enough. We have 2 stomps, so we probably should be good enough. And last but not least, if you press the backspace key, you can open up the map. And we have unlocked 0.16% of the map, so we have a long ways to go to complete the game. And apparently this game is pretty large, from what I've seen or heard. After all, we get a lot of unlockable items. Like, I spy those green blocks in the top. I suppose we will return here to get a secret item or something. After all, the room isn't completely shown. Alright, on to Bowser's Castle. Here we are at Castle Entrance with the Castle Entrance theme from Castlevania Symphony of the Night. On the top left is our interface, health, mana, and stars. Here's our first enemy, Goombas. The simplest enemy of them all to defeat, just like any Mario game. They only drop 1 experience though. And they only take 2 hits to kill, so no worries. So we have the star count and HP on the top. MP is not going to be useful for now. There's my first hit. As you may have noticed, enemies don't deal that much damage, but that will change soon enough. The Goombas don't deal that much damage, mainly for tutorial sense. Here's our guide block. Once we actually hit it, it'll be right in the menu, as you can see over there. Here's the next new enemy type. Green Koopas. Green Koopa Troopas. They're actually pretty dumb as they'll walk right over holes. Here's the next enemy, Peeps. I don't know what Mario game they came from, but oh well. They just teleport around and try looking at you. I want to try killing as many of these creatures as possible because, especially in the early game, levels are kind of important. In the later game, equipment becomes more important from what I heard. Darn, I probably need to hit that switch at the bottom part of the screen in order to continue on. What's over here? Bats and more Goombas. Oh, and here's what I meant by enemies dealing much more damage. Those spines deal 20 points of damage, so they can be quite dangerous. In general, for this game, both Mario and most enemies are more durable and can take a lot more hits. But, unlike most other Mario games, Mario and the enemies in general have a low invincibility time. So if you're not careful, you can end up being stun locked, as you can notice right here. But this affects both enemies, bosses, and Mario himself, so you gotta be careful. But you can easily deal with enemies if you can repeatedly jump into them. Oh yeah, and one other feature I didn't mention, in the enemy list, you can actually see if they have any drops. The drop rate on the left, that indicates the rarity and quality of the item. We don't know what they drop, so we should be fine for now. The green Koopa Troopa, the turtle-like creature with hard shell, the common Koopa minion, well, he has a pretty important item I really want to collect before I get to the boss fight. It's actually, you can get an early item by killing him enough times, or if the drops are in your favor, so I better do that. And in the menu here I did mention, you can tell where enemies have tolerances against certain elements, aka resistances, and certain weaknesses, aka double or quadruple damage. Also the HP, experience, SP, and number of enemies killed, as well as a description. Of course, enemies are kind of simple in this game because they don't have other stats like strength, defense, attack, only HP. Well, maybe they do have defense, but it's hidden. And peeps do have a pretty strong item, so I better get used to killing them more often. Alright, let's progress. Enough dilly-dallying about the instructions. And here's Toad. And this isn't actually Bowser's castle, this is actually Castlevania, aka, well, Count Dracula's castle. But apparently Bowser's in control of it. Well, I'm suspicious. And here's the first castle map. The first one comes free. It'll show off, well, part of the Bowser's, aka Dracula's castle. Only a part of it, the rest of them you have to either find or purchase from the stores. And it shows off the first area and the second area well. Here's the second guide. Jump height in this game doesn't actually depend on your speed, but when you run faster you jump higher. But when you're too slow, you can always use the X button to jump higher. And over here is the save point. Make sure to save often in this game, especially after you complete the first area, as the game gets a lot harder very quickly. Trust me, this is a tutorial region, but afterwards, enemies start to get a lot more durable. I want to level up at least 1 or 2 times before continuing on to the boss. And I want to collect a certain item from these green Koopa Troopas, if they actually are cooperative. Oh, hello Ninja. Ninjas are from Super Mario Bros. 2, not the Lost Levels, I mean the one we got in US. Too bad I can't harm those spines yet. I need an item or magic in order to actually hurt them. And we get our first new piece of equipment, the leather cap. It just raises Mario's defense by 1. We'll quickly get better gear in the future. Oh, and there's the first boss fight coming up. Let me go back in the level grind just a little bit before I fight the boss. Okay, we have 1 in every stat, and after killing off this Ninja Junior, Strength Con increased by 1, Int and Mind increased by 2, Lock 2, Regen nothing, so our Stomp is increased by 1 in power. Now I can just one-shot all of these Goombas. Ah, there's the item I was looking for, the green Koopa shell. And as another note, in the bestiary, once you collect all possible droppable items from an enemy, their name in the bestiary listing will be colored blue. And their item will be listed over there. Please note that if an enemy doesn't actually have any drops, like the Novice Ninja, its name will automatically be blue. And because of this, where is... Oh, I need equipment. I can now equip a weapon. Normally, you're not able to... You don't have an item that you can equip this early in the game. If you level grind off of green Koopalings, or you're really lucky like I was, you can actually get the green Koopa shell. From what I've heard, the first item you'll get is the knife, but that's in a waterworks area or something. This is a dangerous throwable shell and bounces 3 times before getting destroyed. It deals 12 bash damage by default and 4 star, and costs 4 stars to use. So we can use it about 7 times. And there's our next item, roasted Goomba. It actually seems a little bit it seems kind of disturbing that we're actually eating off the Goombas, but oh well. Whatever floats your boat. I understand mushrooms, but considering we're actually eating the remains of enemies, yeah, that seems a little bit disturbing, but hey, that was in the original Castlevania games, so I suppose that's accurate. Oh, and because of this, just like normal Castlevania games, you have to hold up and your X key or whatever your fire button is, and you'll be able to throw off that shell. It'll be really useful against the boss. That's for certain. And it deals a lot more damage than our current jumping skill allows. The controls get a little bit getting used to, mainly because Mario has quite a bit of inertia and it's harder to turn it in mid-air. For example, once I jump here, I jump and yeah, unlike the normal Mario games, Mario has a lot more inertia here, so once you commit to a jump, you can't go back too far. It's actually similar to the older retro Castlevania titles. Ah, darn, I need to go back and heal. I can't really fight the boss like this. And as expected, just like items in Castlevania, well, you can't regen your stars or hearts unless you collect hearts from destroying the candles, just like Castlevania. Right now I don't have that much ammo or stars for using my items, but that will change as I level up more and more. Especially once I get up to level probably 20, I'll probably be spamming my items a lot more. After all, this is the only way of actually hurting the spines right now without hurting myself. As I said, jumping takes a little bit while to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's fine. Though it makes turning around a lot more challenging in certain areas. Oh sure, let's go after the boss. Once we see the boss door, we see the boss. So the boss is Big Boom Boom. Another reason why I wanted to get the green shell is because... Ow. Because it can actually hurt him while he's in his armored form. He's actually quite a tough first boss if you ask me. It can be quite easy to die if you're not careful. Especially because he can rapidly move over like that. Or rapidly move from place to place like the screen. He's a lot tougher than the classic Mario Boom Booms. But after enough hits, he'll die. Note that in my first 2 attempts of doing this in a test run, I actually died, so be on your guard. This is kind of a difficulty spike in a... it's teaching you how to jump and be careful about bosses. They're a lot more complicated than normal Mario bosses, personally. And for defeating each boss, we get a life max up. It's increased our max life by, I believe, 20. And we can now progress to the next part of the stage. I'll be ending this part once I actually get to the next area. We can either continue on right or left. Let's see what's on the right. Oh good, 50 coins. That'll be really useful. Okay, yellow paratroopers. And now red Koopas. Okay, let's see what's on this side. Oh, I do love it when I can do that. I damage boosted off the dare because I don't actually have enough stars in order to use the ability. Now many of these enemies are very easy to dispatch thanks to me leveling up so much. And we get our next item. Cord Draws, or however you pronounce it. More defense is always nice. However, we have this strange inverted block over here. I don't know what these are used for, but I suppose if this is following Castlevania tradition, there is an inverted castle or dark world, or anti-world or something. So we'll get back to that when we unlock that thing. Good, our third level up. Let me see what these enemies do. Red Koopa Troopa. Oh yeah, these are smarter because they won't walk right off. Okay, and these have a rear drop as well. Interesting. Where should we go? Let's see if we can go down. It'd be really embarrassing if I die at this point. Oh good, we have something else here. We get a super mushroom. That'll be a restoration item just like the roasted Goombas. So I will use that in the future, when necessary. And depending on how well I actually survive, I may need to use it very soon. Of course, sometimes the positioning of these peeps can be quite annoying. Thankfully I can now two-shot them, so they're not too big of a deal. Of course, sometimes with those jumping enemies, if they're positioned just right, they can nudge inside of Mario's hitbox and you'll still take damage. You'll still damage them though. So I suppose the next way is up. Come on. Thank you, peeps. Wow, 50 coins each. This seems to be a good grinding spot for coins because it keeps respawning. So I suppose the next way to go is up. Oh nice, I can even kill the green Koopa shells, Koopalings now, in one hit. And we got a ring. Just a ring, nothing more, but it increases our defense and constitution, so I'll definitely take that. Let's see what's in here. Red Koopaling. Oh boy. That's it, I'm going to be using roasted Goombas. Just so I can survive. It'd be really embarrassing if I die at this point, not to the boss, but to regular enemies. Aha, red pipes! Just like in the corridors between hallways in the Castlevania games, these are transfer you to the other areas. So we basically completed the upper portion of the castle corridors, and now we have the Tangled Garden. Let me see where the save point is, and then I'll end off this part. Oh good, we have actually a star restoration over here. And there was actually the save point. Alright, so I guess this is a nice place to end off this part. Alright, to summarize what just happened, I completed the castle corridor, defeated the big Boom Boom, and I made it to the entrance of the Tangled Garden. Plus I got some new equipment, I got the first item early, the green Koopa shell. I explored 4% of the castle, and I leveled up to level 4. So in the next part, I'll explore and complete the Tangled Garden. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day. Toodles!